Hi Princeton Club family, this is Trainer Lauren here bringing you your next nutritional video, and this is part 2 of the juice cleanse. So if you haven't gotten a chance to check out the first video, this is one of the few times I would actually encourage you to go watch that one first. It does go over a lot of the pros and cons that have to do with juice cleansing, and you do really want to make sure that it feels right for you. So just get that information first and then come view this video next. Today's video is all about the pre-cleanse. What should you do before you even do a cleanse? As a reminder, I'm not a dietitian or nutritionist, but recently I've done a lot of extensive research on this topic. I've done juice cleanses myself, and I've actually learned quite a bit this second or third time around of doing something like this. I really actually found out that I feel like the first couple times I've ever tried a juice cleanse, which honestly was probably over a year ago, I think I was doing it wrong. And what I mean by that is you shouldn't just go from one day eating normal to the next day hopping on only juices. What I've recognized and read through the research is that it's really hard on your digestive system to just go strictly all normal eating, processed food, desserts, coffee, and then it's really harsh on your body to just jump right into only juices. That's probably a big reason why people are afraid of juice cleanses or can't really stick with them for very long, is because you're going from too big of extremes. And so through the research that I've done recently is if you can kind of ease your way into the cleanse, your body and your mindset is actually going to have a much easier time processing everything. And being able to personally just A, stick with it, and then B, physically feeling good throughout the process. That's really the whole point of this, is you're trying to eliminate foods that are bad for you and replacing them and really filling your body with tons of nutrition. And so I'm personally on day 4. I honestly feel fantastic. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I'm really happy that I chose to do the pre-cleanse, and I might even stick with it, the pre-cleanse, for a few more days before I jump into the cleanse itself. So how you want to figure out where you should be at and how long you should do a pre-cleanse for is kind of based on these categories. We talked about this a little bit last time, and you do want to kind of define yourself in one of these 4 eating categories. So 1, are you a health nut? This might not be too many people, but are you really a person who 90% of the time is very good about your diet, you're a creature of habit, you're always eating very well? You really, in a pre-cleanse, just to clean things up a little bit, just need really 1 or 2 days of some of these, elimination processes. If you're a weekend warrior, I kind of put myself in that category. Someone who maybe, 4 to 5 days of the week eats pretty darn healthy, but then you really kind of go for it on the weekend, or you're having too many treats at night. And so you'd want to be doing a cleanse for 3 to 4 days in the pre-cleanse phase. If you are kind of more of the typical all-American diet, maybe 50-50, you'll eat a salad, but then you're also going to equally have burgers and fries and a shake, no problem. Pizzas, burritos, veggies here and there. If you kind of categorize yourself as that person who really kind of needs to take a hone on things, tighten things up, 5 to 6 days in this pre-cleanse phase. And then, if you really are a person who's just been struggling lately, being homebound, just eating fast food or takeout, lots of snacks and junk food, you rarely couldn't think of the last time you ate a salad or an apple, then you would want to be on this pre-cleanse for 7 or more days. The reason why you want to do this is because you want to give yourself time again to ease into this process and eliminate things potentially gradually. You don't have to cut everything out all at once. And so let's go through next then here, this eliminate slowly kind of idea. So with the research that I did, this pre-cleanse phase is a chance for you to kind of start to remove foods from your diet that we just knowingly know are not good for us. This is not meant to be terribly restrictive in terms of calories. We still want to be eating plenty of calories. We just want to be eating the right calories. And this gives your body a chance to kind of like take a little break digestively, hormonally, from some of that junk we've been eating, but rightfully so, it's hard to get yourself off of these foods sometimes. So the foods that you do want to be eliminating over the course of the days, you can either do it all at once and just say, okay, these foods are off the list for the 5 to 6 days. Or, you know, if you have a day where you miss here and there and you happen to have a piece of cheese, or, you know, because dairy's on the list, or, you know, you maybe didn't do so great on the caffeine that day because coffee's on the list, you know, it's okay. So we have kind of this little window of a buffer before we get to the cleanse itself. So the things that you do want to make sure you're eliminating, though, very obviously processed foods. When we say processed, I want to make sure everyone understands that it's anything that's not a whole food. So if you are buying things from a box, from a can, in the frozen freezer section, that's an instant meal. If it's not frozen veggies or frozen plain potatoes, it's probably not on the list for you to be eating just right now during this time. So processed foods, added sugars and refined carbs. So we know that means things like white breads and white pastas, anything that's stripped of its nutrients, and definitely the added sugars. This is a huge one to make sure you're just not taking in any additional sugars other than sugars that come from natural sources like fruits and honeys. Fast food and takeout, dairy is on the list, red meats, caffeine, and alcohol. So remember, this is a temporary period of time. If you are doing this, hopefully you're doing this for the right reasons, that you're looking to just be a healthier, more health conscious individual, and that you're looking to kind of have more of a restorative feeling with your body. And so by taking these things out, what this means really is taking out things that are providing inflammation to the body and especially to our gut. So you might personally be experiencing symptoms of bloatedness, constipation, achiness, headaches, you know, and so those are all signs potentially of inflammation in the body due to the food that we consume. So if we can work on eliminating these for your window of time, I'm telling you, I'm on day 4 right now, like I mentioned. I'm glad I didn't just do 2 days, for example. I could have said, oh, maybe just 2 or 3 days. I'm glad I'm doing 4. I am feeling a whole lot better personally. A lot of my symptoms have gone away already, and I can't just wait to see what the future days kind of hold for me, because I just think I'll continue to feel better and better. I also am really happy that I chose to do additional research and understand what the pre-cleanse meant, because I think that harshness of jumping into a cleanse is what makes us feel like cleanses are so extreme. But by me gradually eliminating things, I personally have done a really good job of sticking to this list. I think for me, the caffeine has been the hardest. Not that I'm even a big caffeine person myself, but I love the taste of coffee. Now that I'm home, I can kind of sip on it slowly, and, you know, I usually put my cream and sugar in there, and it's been a little bit of just like it's just a habit you have to break. One other example I'll give you is the night of the NFL draft was one of my first nights doing the pre-cleanse, and I had just eaten a dinner, and I also drank a juice, and so I was like, okay, I'm definitely not hungry, but because we sat down to watch something on TV, I instantly felt the need to go to the pantry and grab some sort of munchy snack. I really had to consciously catch myself to basically say, no, that's not what we're doing right now. And so I guess I just found that really fascinating. I think hopefully we've all had experiences like that where we've tried to be more health conscious, and hopefully what you're realizing is some of this is just we have to break some bad habits. And so I'm really happy that I have been sticking with it. My body and mind feel a whole lot better about putting nutrition and health back in. So without going too far into like, you know, what should we eat, I just wanted to provide a list of like, what should you really be eating then? Because now it's like, well, we took all this out. If this was a bulk of your diet, it sometimes feels like, well, goodness, what can we even eat then? And really, you can eat a lot of good things still in this pre-cleanse phase. So tons of fruits and vegetables. Make this a huge priority, as well as doubling up on leafy greens. The way that I'm doing this is I'm doing kind of like a half juicing, half eating real foods kind of diet these first 4 days. So because I wanted to make sure I got enough nutrition in, I chose to drink a juice in the morning and then a juice in the evening, and that ensures that I'm getting enough of the nutrients and kind of making sure I'm hitting these two categories, as well as still actually eating fruits and vegetables throughout the day in my other 2 or 3 meals that I'm doing. So that's how I'm accomplishing it. You can do this without doing juices at all. You can just stick with regular food. But if you really are struggling to get like a big salad in, or fruit throughout the day, or like maybe a smoothie, doing a juice once or twice within the day is not a bad start. It kind of gets your body used to drinking them too. Next, then, you still want to keep healthy fats in your diet. So things like raw nuts and avocado have been staple to my cleanse. Low glycemic complex carbs. So we want to remember that carbs are still really good for us. They're important to have in our body, and important for digestion. You could think about things like whole grain breads, brown rice, and quinoa. Some of the pre-cleanses have talked about eliminating gluten. So if you think you might have a gluten sensitivity, at this point you could eliminate the breads and the pastas and like some of the whole grains if you wanted to. That would be an optional thing. And then last would be protein. You still can eat protein. Eggs, white meats, and seafood have been a staple to my diet. So I've been doing salmon and eggs mostly, and hummus. I'm doing a little bit more plant-based myself. So the reason why I'm taking out meat is just more because they talked about digestion. You wanna make sure digestion is as easy as possible for your body to accomplish. So meats tend to take longer to break down in your body. We know that protein and white meats are good for us, so I'm not eliminating them because I think they're bad. I'm just trying to view this as a digestive process. So that's how I've been accomplishing it. And then, I think the last thing I like to mention is just to continue to re-emphasize the reason why we're doing this. So the first reason that I thought of, and that makes sense to me, is we really want to be in tune with our body and with ourselves. And so this is such a great opportunity. We're basically all at home right now. Even if you're working, you're at home all day long. Life is potentially at a slightly slower pace. And so you can really take the time to plan some meals, to do some additional research, and to also be in tune with your body a little bit more. It's also important to pay attention to your symptoms. So if you generally are noticing a lot of negative symptoms with your body because of the foods that you're eating, you don't sleep well, you get tired in the middle of the day, you have stress, headaches, cramping, bloating, fatigue, joint pain, skin issues, there's so many different things, right, that can happen. But as you start to do the cleanse, every day I would record your symptoms. Have you noticed any changes, and over the course of the days, start to see if you've had any improvements in those major categories. It's just kind of a fun experiment to see what works for you. This is a chance to create a mindset of wellness. So a cleanse is just a great way to simplify your life, simplify your food choices, and allow yourself just to experience the taste of whole foods. One thing that they do recommend that I read is, really sipping slowly, chewing and finishing a meal and making it take 30 minutes to finish a meal, really grazing on it and enjoying every bite, enjoying every sip of the juice. And so that's something that I personally have had to be more conscientious of, because I'm one to kind of eat and move on. And so I'm taking the time to really notice the flavors, let things digest a little more just calmly and slowly, and I've kind of enjoyed the experience. And then later on, the good thing is we'll be able to possibly test some food sensitivities. And so that'll be part of the reintroduction of food after the cleanse. So if you noticed, one thing I didn't mention why we're doing this is weight loss. That has not come up in any of the conversation today, and that's really on purpose. This is not a weight loss plan. This is not geared for a quick 3 or 5 pound weight loss and hope you keep it off, because typically with a cleanse, that's not what this is about. It's about wellness and essentially reintroducing yourself to maybe foods and flavors that maybe you didn't think you'd like, foods that you haven't eaten for a while, and just to create a sense of nutrition back into your life if you've been struggling with sugars or just high carb fatty foods. If we can get ourselves on a 10 to 14 day plan of eating all health, your body starts to recognize that as real food again, and it will start to crave those things. So remember, again, we are not doing this for weight loss. It's possible you may lose a few pounds during this process. It's probably guaranteed you will. But remember that if we gain those pounds back, that's actually okay, and we want to gain those pounds back. We're doing this to create a lifestyle of health. So, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, lauren.parrish@princetonclub.net. If you do choose to try this pre-cleanse, or if you've done a cleanse before, comment below. I'd love to hear your experiences with this. I personally am still feeling fairly new to this topic, and not sure exactly how I feel totally, if it's going to be a benefit to my health in the long term, but so far I'm really enjoying the experience and enjoying putting health back into my day. So talk with you soon. The last video, then we will cover the cleanse and then the post cleanse in one video. So good luck if you decide to try this, and post any questions below, and we will talk with you soon. Thanks, everybody.